Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. When you're tuned in, you're with Lady Business and Give It to the People Radio, where you're going to get enlightened, enhanced, empowered, and enriched. Make sure that you always tune in to Give It to the People Radio. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching. You know you're tuned in with Give It to the People Live, and I am Pennix-Brown, and today I have somebody new for you to meet. I feel like Romper Room when it's like, you boys and girls, and you boys and girls. But you have to be old enough to understand that reference, otherwise it just went like completely, totally over your head. But today I have Cheryl with me, and I'm just going to let her introduce herself so you can find out how marvelous and wonderful she is. And she has something that I wanted to go to a while back, and I could not come, but I just want to ask if you're going to do it again. So we're going to get into that.
Okay.
But, all right, tell them who you are.
I'm Cheryl Bridges, and I'm a little bit of everything, really. Okay. I started out my career as a change management consultant and have moved to coaching individuals and business owners, and then leading groups and organizations through change. Okay. I'm all about change.
Definitely, because one of the biggest things I tell people all the time is if you're not willing to change and you're like, this is how we've always done it, it's not going to grow the way that it needs to. And some people are so closed-minded that they just think, okay, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Yes. But to me, once things start moving and you can see trends, right, even if it's small things, in a direction where it's like, oh, I need to embrace that new thing, then some people are too late to the party, tardy to the party, right? Yep. So what's the biggest thing that I guess that people have to get over when you're talking about even making the decision to change something?
Fear.
Oh, scared. Okay.
They're afraid of change and the unknown. It's kind of like Cotter is a business organizational psychologist that sometimes being more afraid of things staying the same is the best way to get people to change, because status quo is deadly, especially nowadays. Yeah. That if you aren't changing, you're never standing still. The world is changing. And so if you aren't changing, then you're behind, even if you have a good business. Even if your life is working well, there are still places you can improve yourself.
I totally agree with that. Like, that is one of my biggest things, and so I always look at what I can do to improve. And so for me, I look at, sometimes it's a money thing, but it's not necessarily just money. I think to me it's quality of life. And sometimes that means money brings the quality of life, right? So, I'm trying to not just try to give it a comparison, I guess, because if you know that you want to do X, Y, Z. So let me give you an example. I'm looking at this thing and I show my husband this event that's coming up. And I was like, we need London money because this event is next month. I love it. It's next month and it's in London. And I'm like, I can't just pick up and just go to London next month, right? I mean, because you got to think about the flight. You need a place to stay. Now, we have passports and all of that. But, just when you think about the constraints that you kind of put on yourself, like, you want to be able to do certain things, which means that then, to me, money has to produce that.
Yep.
Because otherwise it's like, even if you could go, because technically, could I go? I probably could go. But then I'll come back and I'll be like, oh, okay, how are things? So then it's like, you have to think about that. And I know there are plenty of people that probably want to do certain things, but to me, money is a barrier. So when you're talking to people that are either starting or trying to grow their business, what's one of the biggest things that you see, if outside of fear, that is making them not necessarily want to change?
I think it's being open to new things, because doing things the way we've always done them is not going to work. I think we've entered a new paradigm where business as usual doesn't work. And so letting other people tell you how to do what you do, even though you're the expert, I believe everybody is the expert at what they do, even if they don't do a good job of it. They know, and I've taken over many a business. I would go in and take over and take about 18 months to turn the ship. And every person knows how to do their job. But if you're not teachable, if you're not coachable and open to what other people might have to say, then that, to me, kind of stymies your growth. And a lot of business owners, especially what I call a legacy business. You know,
it's been in the
my
family.
grandparents or whatever.
Yep.
It's been in the family. We've always done it like this, and we have great customers, and they just kind of keep plugging along. And it's the way it's worked all these years. And at some level, they're not coachable. They're not.
But they say they want to make changes.
Yes, they do.
And what they're saying and what they're doing are two different things.
Yes.
And then they have to realize that. So to me, you're like a business. Like I love Bar Rescue. Have you ever seen Bar Rescue?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. That's it,
Tapper?
exactly.
Like
exactly.
you know what? First of all, he is so brash that I probably really like that the most, right? But he will tell you if something is wrong. And so sometimes, okay, like let's look at it like this. In a restaurant, you can clearly see the things that are wrong, right?
Yep.
Because if it's the refrigerator, the food stuff, the sanitation, whatever, those things are easy to see, right?
Yep.
Even though people will overlook them. But in a business where maybe it's service oriented,
Yes.
sometimes the person can't see where they can make improvements,
Yes.
right? But that's where you come in to try to really help them with that.
Right. And not to be critical, but to see their growing edges. It's kind of like the old saying where if you caught a jar of flies, eventually they get so accustomed to that restriction and that limitation. If you take the lid off the jar, they don't even try to fly out.
Really?
Yeah. And so I always think when I see Bar Rescue, I think, why are they even working there? That place is bad.
Disgusting.
It's
A lot
nasty.
of them, yeah.
And they're so accustomed to it. Even the owners, they're so accustomed to robbing Peter to pay Paul and doing things halfway that they don't see a way out.
And they can't make an effective business like that.
No, they're always catching up with themselves, and they never do. And so to have someone objective come in and to say, okay, this is what I'm seeing, and are you willing to change it or not? I've been fired from a business.
You know I was going to ask that. Because I feel like there's always somebody that no matter what you say, no matter how objective you are, no matter how right you may be, that they just want to be right. They don't want to hear anything. They don't really want your feedback, even though that's what they hired you for.
Right.
And so how did that go, though?
Well, it's kind of like, this is what's happening. Your front office manager is pocketing any cash that comes in.
So you tell them this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I called for an external audit that documented this is the money and where it's going. And they apparently had a side agreement that they were boss and employee with benefits that were not financial benefits, at least for her they were. And he liked that. And so he said, I need you to leave. And it's like, okay, adios, amigo. Yep.
So he wanted to run his business in a negative way.
In the ground.
Yeah.
She was making sure people paid cash so she could write it off in the computer and put it in her pocket.
Oh,
and
my
he said,
goodness.
I know she's doing it, and we have an agreement.
Wow.
And it's like, okay, I'm gone.
Yeah, because it's kind of like,
Can't change it.
yeah, that's something. Okay, I did not expect that to be the case.
Yes.
I just figured it was going to be like a tug of war kind of thing, but that was a crazy one.
And the whole staff knew it was a crazy thing.
So the staff had a problem with it.
Oh yeah, wouldn't you? I mean,
What do you do then, I guess, because based on what you're saying, one of the things I would think with companies would be the culture.
Yes.
That's inside of there.
Yes.
So if you have a whole bunch of staff that are saying this is not right, I don't feel comfortable, or you know whatever, and I'm not talking about like a Me Too situation, just a regular work kind of thing.
Yes.
You know, what kind of things do you do to try to fix that? Like, because you would need to bring it to the owners, you know, the managers, whoever's attention to get them to fix it.
Well, as a fractional CEO, I learned really quickly that people had to report to me, including the board of directors.
But that's because you're there for so long,
the
too.
owners, right. I'm there full
Okay.
time or 20 hours a week or 3 days a week. And then once that's established, that you may be the owner, but you got to report to me now because I'm here to turn the ship.
Yeah.
There are two things that my goal, and this works in coaching and in my intuitive work, safety and honesty. And first, it has to be safe for everyone to say the truth.
That's
Because
true.
I'm the hired gun. I'm there to tell the truth.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of truth that the staff is carrying that like this staff that knew there was an agreement with the front office manager and the owner, they never said that. No one
so they didn't tell you,
brought it up.
They let you figure it out.
They let me figure it out.
But do you think they were scared of losing their jobs?
Yeah, they were afraid of all of that.
Yeah.
It's the flies in the jar thing.
Oh,
and
wow.
So safety, your secret is safe with me, and I model safety, but I also model honesty.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you, okay, you're smoking cigarettes and eating seafood gumbo at your desk is not acceptable.
absolutely not.
This was,
Look, that makes me feel like I'm like,
and this was
cigarettes
and
and
this
seafood
was
gumbo.
the person who greeted the customers at the door.
Hold up. So
She was
So
sabotaging
you walk
the whole
in
thing.
and you're
Gumbo
smoking
and
cigarettes and gumbo. Madam,
Yes.
inappropriate. Like,
Yes.
these need to... But,
Yeah.
okay. Sometimes we want to think that things are common sense, but don't they say that that's not common,
no,
right?
Yeah. Those things happen
Oh,
in
I can't
different
even
ways.
imagine
it's
that.
sabotage. She was sabotaging a
But
system
why would you be
that
even
wasn't
eating
working.
at the front desk
She was
if that's
PA'd.
you're the first person of contact when people
Yes.
come in?
Safety and honesty. So
Oh,
I
that's
asked
disgusting.
her, I said, 1 + 1 does not equal 2 here.
Mm-hmm.
You're great at what you do. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And the owner had been through some financial turbulence. Like a year before, they went for a month and didn't get paid yet. They were still there.
Wow.
That's the fly thing.
That's a little dedication.
And she said, "Can I say cuss words?"
Uh-huh.
She said, "I hate the son of a bitch."
Oh.
It's like, that's a problem.
So that's why she was
That was
sabotaging
it.
at the
She
front.
was sabotaging it.
Okay, but
She
then
couldn't leave
why couldn't she leave then?
because she was a loyal person to the end.
See, and that loyalty, and you know what, honestly, and I knew that had to be somebody's reasoning for
Yep.
doing something. But one thing that I have learned the hard way is that being loyal to somebody else's vision will have you be a captive.
Yep.
And if that person decides that the vision does not include you anymore, what are you going to do? And oftentimes, you're the one that's left with the short end of the stick because
Always.
you didn't plan for something else. And
Yep.
so that's why, for me, I am very adamant about how else can I make money?
Yes.
You know, and so I can't just stay in a position where it's like, this is the only thing that I have.
Yeah.
Because if I did that, there would be plenty of times where I just wouldn't have if I was only concentrating on one stream of income.
Yep.
When
Yep.
it comes to that. But when you're dealing with employees and they have that one stream of income, they want to be able to trust that they're at a place that they're going to be able to come into the next day.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
And,
safety
yeah.
and security matters more to
Definitely.
them. They're not willing to risk. And yet to sabotage it, so maybe they'll fire me and I'll have to leave. I don't know.
But if you got fired,
Yeah.
you possibly might get unemployment. You know, and that's
Right.
a possibility depending on what the situation
Right.
was. But outside of that, it's just like, would you rather somebody fire you or you take the initiative to
And
leave
do
and go
it.
somewhere
Yes.
else?
Well, having heard that and knowing how miserable she was,
Yeah.
I gave her 2 hours a week to go on interviews, paid time.
Wow.
Had the people who could type and paid them to do a new resume for her. She'd been there years.
Wow.
And she got a job within 2 weeks. It's like, I need you gone, was my attitude toward her, and I will help you do that.
Wow.
But just to show you how loyal she was, she stayed on the next job she got for 25 years. So she was one of those longevity people that would not have
Wow.
left, even not having a paycheck.
Now, see, that's all you need to do is not have my money.
You better, but you're not my source, but
Look,
you better have my money.
I'm out of here. No, but yeah, that's a pet peeve for me.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing that, and you know what? It's like, money is important because people need it to live.
Yes.
And you don't ever know what a person's situation is on the other side of that paycheck.
Yep.
So being in a position to be solvent makes a huge difference if you're running a company and then you have to have other people that are dependent
Yep.
on you. And I'm going to be honest, if I have I don't know if it's a fear or if it's a phobia or whatever, but I am not to the place where I feel like I want to have somebody else fully dependent on me for their paycheck. Like, I think that's another level of, like, being a boss that I'm just not at, and I just don't want to be at this time.
Yes.
Now, can I say that at some point in time I would want to be there? Yes, but I always just concentrate on making sure that I am secure with what I
exactly.
need.
You know what you need.
So then to have that situation where you have people, you know, you have taxes, you have salary, you have insurance, you have all of that on other people. I'm just not ready for that. And I did have somebody, one of my mentors, and he said to me, he said, well, you know, that's how you know that you're really doing it. And I'm just like, well, I'm just not really doing it then. I mean, like, if it's not that, because that to me, I would be one of the types of bosses that would be so extra to make sure that everybody had. Like, that would be the biggest thing. So now I only rely on just me.
Yes.
Whereas I'm not ready to take on that responsibility.
For me, my sense from you is it's not fear, it's not phobia.
Oh, no.
It's agility. You can't be agile if you're having to focus on making these other people.
That's such a great word.
And imagine the weight. I call, like, this woman who worked so loyalty, I call it hitching your wagon to somebody else's star.
And I did that before, and that's why I don't do it anymore.
And you don't want anybody hitching their wagon to your star, because you can't go flying off. And
it's so scary, though.
Free.
And I think, like, if I had a fear, it's like, well, what if this didn't go through and then somebody else couldn't get something? Like, I foresee, so I don't want anybody to think, oh, we're not trying to grow. That's not it. I foresee that my whole team, everybody is taken care of.
Yes.
But I think that it does take another level of self-discipline in order to do that and to be that kind of person.
Yep.
You know, and so when I look at that, I'm just like, am I really ready to be that calm? Like, honestly, for us to have this studio that we're sitting in, that was I don't even know if it was scary. It was just like someplace to go every day if you feel like it.
In my house.
And then it's just like, and pay another set of rent and insurance and all the internet and all that. I was just like, I don't even know about that. And then it's like, once you do it, okay, it's there. So it, to me, maybe it's not fear. I always feel like it's a self-protection kind of thing. Like, I can only do what I feel like I can handle at a certain time. So if I feel like I can handle this, then we can move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But it's like, let's do smaller steps. And then keep on going and then grow it to wherever it needs to be. Because like I say, I foresee this big thing. So it's not that we're not in the mode to hire other people or do that and have employees. It's just that's not where it's at yet.
And you said something so key. Is smaller steps. In personal life, in business life.
Oh, definitely.
So many people, I'm going to be the titan of what I do. And they're still working their day job and they haven't built a client base and they leap out into the unknown totally 800 miles from that small step. And they could have done this and this and this. Even in your personal life, a change here, a change there. And then you're there where you need to be further down the road, not leaping into crazy.
That's crazy.
That's that sabotage thing. It sabotages your life. It sabotages your business. And so you'll do it when you're ready.
No, and that's the biggest thing. So when we're looking at that, I like to really just kind of take into consideration what are the small steps, like you said, that I need to do to get to the next thing. And so that's why I plan in 90-day increments, because to me, it's so much easier to do that than people that are like, well, what's your 5-year plan? And I understand why we do that, because we do want people to plan further out. But at the end of the day, some people don't plan till tomorrow. So
or they don't
I need to plan
out
this week and make sure that this can go well so that the next thing then comes out like it needs to come out. And one thing I could say, even with the planning, even if you plan well sometimes, you should be able to recognize what I like to call like a dead date. If it's not going well by this date, you need to stop and you need to reevaluate.
Every week, that to me.
And that's what I'm saying.
What's working, what's not working, what can I celebrate?
I look at how many days until everything and then kind of go from there. Okay, so I need to know, because you did this thing where you were doing bullet journaling.
Oh, yeah. Do you not know bullet journaling?
No, but see, I wanted to come to that thing so bad, and I was like, I just could not make it.
Oh, my gosh.
So can you tell them what bullet journaling is, and then are you going to be doing another one anytime?
We will do this. We will do this.
Okay.
So I'll give you the backstory. Okay. I don't have a conventional memory.
Okay.
And so don't ask me how I know who and what, because I don't remember.
You just know.
I just know
that you know.
And I never forget a name or a face, but I don't always put them together.
Yeah.
But so all of my career, I've always kept 5 subject notebooks with notes every day of what I did, who I called, the phone number. But I would have to flip. It's like, I know I got that damn number somewhere.
I do that.
Hate it. And so, too bad my bullet journal's over there. But so the bullet journal, the key to it is you have an index. Everything you put in your notebook goes in the front in the index. So now I have years of bullet journals that I can go in the front and see when I saw so-and-so. But it also brings in your calendar.
Okay.
So that I can flip and say, okay, this is the date we're meeting. Let me go to the next 6 months and put it on the calendar. So it's everything in one place, indexed, and it is the bomb.
So hold up. So do you go ahead and just like you write, and then you go do the index?
Every time, like maybe I had a meeting. So the second I'm done with that meeting, or 2 days later, I go to the front and write down who it was and the page numbers.
Oh,
and then in 2 months, I might have another meeting with that person, and beside their name, Andrea, and page 31 to 35, comma, page 77 to page 80.
So you know exactly
where my notes are.
Oh my God, I need that in my mind.
It's so amazing.
But you're writing it down, which I love because that helps me to remember stuff easier.
Yep.
But I will do that, and I have notebooks on top of notebooks.
See, and I even went back
you have
to
a 5
notebook
subject,
and re-indexed it. No, well, it varies now. It depends. I was using a 5 subject notebook, went through it, indexed what I had already done, and started indexing from there. So use what you've got.
Okay.
But I use a thicker notebook, and it only lasts me 3 months. So every quarter
you have
is
a notebook that's like a whole little part of your life just sitting right there indexed.
Yes.
Oh, yep. I love it.
And it is just like so juicy because everything's in there. And if I'm bored in a meeting, I'm doing doodling and it's there.
I think that would help you to remember stuff.
Yes.
Because I try to tell people, send me an email. Like, people want to talk to me in so many different platforms because social media makes you feel like, then you forget, did you do something because the platform is whatever, and it's like I'm like, please send me an email, because even if you talk on the phone, you could be off the phone and forget to call somebody
again and you're done.
Or you just were doing something and then the next thing happens and it's gone. But if I have an email, I love the way Google is doing it now, because Google is like, hey, you opened this 4 days ago, but you haven't replied.
That's great, isn't it?
It is amazing.
Yes.
And so those kind of things I think can work too. So when we're talking about change, you can see actually what you did in that bullet journal.
Well,
and then kind of go back and,
and catch it up. Or like I have my calendar. I do what's called a 2-page week spread, Monday through Sunday. And Saturday, I saw Camilla with Nalia Shea, and she said something about being overwhelmed. And I said, well, I know this gal who really is a great marketing person. She'd really help you. And she said, would you mind giving me her contact information? When I got out to my car, I wrote in my Bujo is the short name for it.
Bujo.
A little checkbox, and I put send Camilla the marketing information.
Okay.
Empty checkbox. I haven't done it yet. Okay. And so that every time I look at my calendar this week, I've seen, I need to send Camilla. Okay. So I don't go anywhere without my bullet journal.
That's amazing.
Because it has to go right in there or I will forget.
Yeah.
It's just not my brain.
Yeah, it's very easy to forget, and I think when you do that in your writing, and see, you're keeping one, so it helps you to stay consistent instead of having a whole bunch of different notebooks and stuff.
And scattered everywhere. Yeah. And
then
I had to stop. I had a client who, she had 5 notebooks, because she had 5 different sources of income. And so she would have a green notebook for this and a blue, and she'd be at green notebook work. And her blue one.
Oh, so she needed to keep them all with her if she was going to do that.
Yes,
because that's
And then one bullet journal, and like I said, I have to have a thick one because I will go through the whole book in 3 months because I've been doing my 90-day plan and I've got it on my calendars and taking notes at meetings. It fills up. Some people do a 1-year bullet journaling.
No, I write too big and I have too many ideas. That wouldn't work because I like to write on whiteboards.
Yes.
And put it out. And then when I'm not writing on whiteboards, then what I'll do is I'll do like whole sheets of paper like you see. Stuff.
Yes.
And then I'll type them because I need to visually see what I'm supposed to do. And then I have enough clients to where I have to do them out for each client to make sure that I've done what I'm supposed to do.
Exactly.
So everything has segments and times as to when it's supposed to be done in order to make everything flow.
Yep.
And then some stuff I do ahead of time because, like this weekend, when we went to D.C., I didn't want to be bothered with anybody's anything, and I knew I was taking off on Monday. So I made sure that everybody's stuff was done so I wouldn't have to worry about it as soon as I got back, and then even into next week, because then it makes my life easier, and then I can focus on other things. Because what if you didn't want to do anything another day?
Right. Well,
it gives you freedom to do that.
Yep, and then your bullet journal, I didn't have time to do that this week. You do a little arrow, and it's called something like transport it to the next week, and you put it on that page.
Yeah.
And it's done. You don't have to rewrite it.
But is that better than a to-do list?
Oh my gosh, yes.
It is. It sounds better than a to-do list.
It's a portable to-do list because my to-do lists are in the week that I need to do them.
Yeah, and that's how I do them too.
I just love it in that, like, I use a white dry erase board.
Yeah.
I take a picture of it.
I do that too.
And put it in my Bujo. So it's right there.
Oh, it's in the Bujo. Okay, see, I keep my picture inside of my phone, and then I go back and I look to see if I did X, Y, Z. But it's not. But see, that's because I'm not using a Bujo. So I need to use a Bujo.
Yeah, and there are some people you might work better with a digital version of a bullet journal.
I might.
There's some software where you have a piece of paper, you write it, and then it goes. You press the little button, and it goes.
I saw that. Yeah, and I thought about doing that because I take a lot of notes, and that would be so much easier for my life.
I'm too visual. I need it.
I need everything. Yeah, I need all of it. Okay, yeah, that may be my next purchase.
And we'll just have to decide when the next time to teach it is, because that's what we do. We just
But I'm sure. Okay, so listen. So when you're watching this, underneath, go ahead and type and let us know. Do you feel like you need to come to a bullet journal class? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. Like that would be one of the things we could do it right over here at the Nussbaum Center. Plenty of space. But I think that I always look at what can I do to be more productive. And if that would help me be more productive, then that would be amazing. Because it's so many pieces to your. I don't know, to your life, to your mind, to your business. And it's like you want everything to just kind of gel together, and I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, and I keep a digital calendar, but I consider my bullet journal calendar to be my backup.
That's the official.
And well, sometimes I'll have my bullet journal, my phone will be almost dead, and I'll put it in my bullet journal, and so I reconcile
it didn't make it into the phone,
right?
And then you gotta go back
I have one in my phone, and that didn't make it to my bullet journal. And I about once or twice a week I go back in and
check it,
make sure they match.
Yeah.
And there have been times I couldn't get to my Google Calendar for some reason, and it's like no problem, got it right here.
Yeah, and then you know where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing.
I like a big picture so I can see the whole week. It's like, oh no, that's just too much to do in one day.
Oh no, I do too. And I block out like these are not disturbed days, these are vacation days, this is a such and such. Because if I don't do that, then I will book something back to back to back. So like I have something now that somebody wants me to do in October, and I'm like, I would love to say yes to you, but this is right after something else. So let me verify this something else, and then make a educated decision on if I can do the next thing, because capacity is my word for this
Yes.
year. I have to make sure that I'm going to have enough capacity and energy to give you the next day to do that, because typically I would probably take off.
Yes.
So then you have to kind of weigh, well, what time of year is it? Well, how much money is it? Because I need to know all these details in order to make, like I said, an educated decision.
Yep.
And it's just like, I used to just say yes, 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 yes so much, and I say no so much now.
Yay.
Because I have to protect that energy. And if I
Yes.
don't say no as often as I do, I would be back to back to back, and I would have no downtime.
Right. And then you're also not at your best.
No.
I have a thing about
You're worn
making
out.
promises you can't keep.
Oh.
That's the same as having a payroll.
Yeah.
That's if you don't make payroll, that's you made a promise that you
It's a
did
sad
not
thing.
keep.
Yeah.
And I have a real issue with that. So I like knowing, okay, I promised Camilla I would send her this.
Uh-huh.
And she doesn't have to call me and ask for it twice.
No, and that's the good thing. So if you're saying now, people that are looking, because you're talking about you go into a company and you're there like a year or two. Mm-hmm. Are you even open right now? I'm not open, like, but like, can you take on somebody else? Do you have that ability?
Capacity, yeah.
Yeah,
I have
right
capacity. I
now.
always have capacity.
Because I would just imagine that's a lot. Once you take on that, how do you feel like once you leave a company? Like if you've been somewhere for 18 to 24 months,
Yes.
do you feel like you're missing a whole little family?
Done. I'm done.
Oh, you're wore out?
I carry the people with me.
Yeah.
Because, I know thousands of people
Yeah.
from having done that. And I'm done because I'm a change agent.
Yeah.
Once it's status quo, I hire my replacement. I'm done.
But
It's
you don't feel like,
boring.
you're bored. So you don't feel like,
Yeah.
oh man, maybe I should stay here. Maybe I should just keep being. You're like, next.
Yes, that's
Okay.
it exactly. I am about change. And,
Okay.
it's generational. I come from serial entrepreneurs for decades. Like 5 generations back.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be bored with status quo.
So you need to go to another
Yeah.
one just so that this way you keep changing and you have new challenges and everything too. Okay.
Yeah,
I love it.
and like I'm helping a client. He's retiring, helping him wind down his business. 10, 15 hours a week, small staff. And then I'm helping a church that's looking to grow. And so I can balance it.
But
And then
they're
I have my
opposites.
individual
Yeah, and then you get
clients.
to have all of that fun stuff and then still work with individuals. So
Yeah.
you never bored.
Never.
You don't have the time to
There's
be bored.
no such thing as being bored.
No.
If you're bored, you're just not looking hard enough.
Ooh, I like
Yeah.
that. Did you hear that? For the people in the back?
Yes. Yes. If you're bored, you need a life.
You do. You need to find something to do. It's
And
a
yet,
bunch to do.
out of boredom comes this awesome creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So let yourself get bored. See what comes up out of it.
Yeah, hopefully productive things though, because some people
Yeah.
go to terrible, crazy vices.
Yes,
So hopefully
yes,
you get some
yes,
productive
yes.
things that come out of it. So tell people where they can find you online.
Okay. It's really easy. You can find me at CherylSBridges.com, and that's CHERYLS as in Sam, BRIDGES. And then I have a book,
Okay.
and that is creativelove.com. Oh, excuse me, creativeselflove.com. Because all change, all success comes from right there.
Inside. It does.
I mean, even business success, it's mindset. 90% mindset. And so, how do you get your mind and your heart aligned with the truth of who you really are? And so, learning how to love yourself is so vital to even to business success.
No, I totally agree with that because
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, if your personal life is messed up, your
Yep.
business life will often
Yep.
times be messed up. And it's just like, I never think that there's a balance. I don't think that at all because you're going to give more time to something than the other thing.
It's more of a pendulum.
But what do you want to give more time to today? You
Yes,
know, and then you
yes.
kind of make that decision. And then tomorrow is something different. But it's no balance, you know? I mean,
No.
so decide on what that thing is going to be and what's most important to you.
And choosing your own priorities versus your business setting it or your lack of business setting it or I grew up in the era where 60-70 hour work weeks were the way things were done.
I might do that. I don't know, but I don't want to do that.
It's-
But you know what? It's not. You know how once you have your own business, you feel like I could just do a little something.
Yeah, and
A
it's
little
never a little
something.
something.
Then it's a little something, and then
Yes.
it's like 2-3 hours later,
Yes.
and you're still doing a little something.
Yeah.
That's why it's like I love to read, and I'll read one thing, and then I learn something. I'm like, let me click the next link. Let me read this, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh, now it's time to go to bed. And then your mind is stimulated.
Yep.
So it's like I try to stop doing that type of thing because it's just a rabbit hole. And it just keeps you interested in something. So that's probably why I can't get bored that easily, because I'm always trying to learn something new.
So much out there.
And then I also learned that there are things that I don't want to learn once I start getting into them. And then that's when you need to find somebody else that's good at those things.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Because it's just easier.
And quit trying to be everything.
It's too much.
Yep, you can't. And you can't be everything to everybody either,
Too much.
which a lot of people make that mistake.
It's too much.
It is.
Yeah.
Especially in this world of where everything's at your fingertips.
Close.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have to be the one to say no. Like you're learning.
No, I say no all the time.
Yes.
Trust me. Like, I am a big no. No. Not going to be able to do that.
No explanation necessary.
Boop.
Yep.
Nope.
There's a woman now, she's probably in her late 70s, Carol Orsborn, who wrote the book Enough is Enough.
Okay.
And she and her husband had like this incredibly successful LA advertising company. And they were killing themselves over it. And they sat at home one time and it's like, what are we going to do? Hey, who are you? You know, they were strangers to each other. And they decided they were going to double their prices and cut half of their clients.
Yeah.
The next year they did more business than they had ever done.
See? Okay. So let's try that. That's a suggestion.
Fire the bottom 20%, that you bust your chops for these people and you're not making in return what you give to them. They need to be gone. And don't be afraid of lack. Fear of lack will strangle your business.
Oh, it definitely will.
Yeah.
It definitely will.
So fire the bottom 20% and give everything you gave them to the top 20%.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all don't need any more words of wisdom today. So, if you are watching, make sure that you share inside of your personal page, any groups that you feel like people need to hear this message. Feel free to leave us comments. And if you are listening, then make sure that you always show up and show out and continue to give it to the people. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Give It to the People Radio. Make sure that you follow us online at ladybusiness.com, LadyBizness. We look forward to helping you grow, sustain, and maintain your business.